friends, how are we doing today? Today we are going to again discuss the case of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. As of right now, which is 8 a.m. Central Time on January 30th, 2020, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow are still missing. Lori has until 5 p.m. this afternoon, Idaho time, to present her children. So I find it very important to get this timeline out, get everybody caught up to date with this case. It has a lot of layers, and every time you turn around, just when you think it can't get any crazier, it gets crazier. Hands down. It's very important that we get the word out about this case and get more eyes on this case. This case has been going on. These kids have been missing since November. They were last seen in September. It's ridiculous that national media or anybody is not just fogging to this case and demanding some damn answers. Any opportunity you can to share this video, share their story, share any information about this case with anyone. Let's get it out there and let's make something happen. It's going to be a lot of information coming your way. I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation of sorts where it breaks it all down so you can see it all visually. I'm also going to do a little commentary over those slides. There will also be some audio and video included based on whatever the topic is of that slide. I get quite a big picture of where things are. Most of the audio visual stuff you're going to see stems from an event that took place on July 11th, 2019, where Lori Vallow's brother killed her fourth husband via gunshot wound. And everybody walked away. So we're going to take a look at a whole bunch of things, not just that incident. So let's go ahead and get started because we're going to be here for a hot minute. So as we go through this PowerPoint, I need to be very clear that the most important people in this case are JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan seen here. This is their NCMEC flyer. If you have any information about the whereabouts of these children, you can call 911 or you can call 1-800-THE-LOST and they will get you to the proper authorities. We're going to be introduced to a huge cast of characters, most who are pretty damn shady and have made some questionable decisions, but these children made no questionable decisions. They didn't choose to be put in the position they are in now, to where they've been missing for 4 months. So that being said, these are most of the people tied to this case. We will be introduced to a few more as the story goes on. These are the names you're going to hear the most. So first and foremost, we have Lori Vallow. Isn't she precious? We have Chad Daybell, and we have Lori's 3 children, Tylee, Colby, and JJ. And to be clear, Colby is 23 years old. He is accounted for. He is safe and sound. He's been speaking out about this case, and we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. On the bottom row, we have Lori's 3rd husband, Joseph Ryan, her 4th husband, Charles Vallow, Chad Daybell's late wife, Tammy Daybell, and Lori's late brother, Alex Cox. Everybody in that bottom row is deceased. It's pretty safe to say all under suspicious circumstances. Now, Joseph Ryan, he's not exactly considered suspicious at this point, but based on what we know now, it's a pretty easy leap to think that something crazy might have happened to him. So we're going to start our story way back in the 90s. Now, Lori Vallow, she had 2 short marriages, one straight out of high school and then another one that only lasted a couple years. And in her 2nd marriage, she gave birth to her son, Colby. Now, Chad Daybell, on the other hand, he marries Tammy in March of 1990. And they just go on living their life. They're just living the all-American dream. Now, by the time we get to the 2000s, Lori's activity really kind of picks up. As we go through this portion of the story, Chad's kind of going to fall off, but I want to give a little history of what his life was like before Lori, just so you can kind of see how drastic his activity has been. So we'll start with Chad on this one. Chad basically is just living life and hanging out with his family. They had 5 kids during the first 10-15 years of their marriage. They were doing great. In 2004, they founded the Spring Creek Book Company. They published books. They published their own books. That website has since been taken down. A lot of their material was faith-based information. There's a ton of books out there. A ton of people have used their service. So around 2007 is when Chad published his first book. Then we skip on over to the left here to Lori. Now, in 2001, she married her third husband, Joseph Ryan. On September 24th, 2002, Tylee was born, which is awesome. And then Joseph legally adopts Colby, which is her son from her second marriage. So Colby then, in fact, becomes Colby Ryan. They divorced in 2004. In 2006, she weds her fourth husband, Charles Vallow. 2006, Lori and Charles Vallow get married. Something went down in August of 2007. Alex Cox, which was Lori's brother, if you remember, was ordered to serve 90 days for an assault on Joseph Ryan during a custody visit. There is a police report regarding this. I will include a link to that down below. Basically, Alex approached him and was like, hey, do you remember me? And Joseph's like, yeah, dude, you're my brother-in-law. Well, Alex began to pull something out of his pocket. Joseph was like, I'm out, took off running, and ultimately Alex tased him. So there's been some questionable activity going on for a hot minute with this family, especially with Alex Cox, knowing that it started way back in 2007, which is now, 12, 13 years ago. They have a history of just wackadoo activity. Now, between 2010 and 2015, Chad and Tammy Daybell are just kind of chilling. But in 2015, the Daybells packed up their family and they moved to Idaho. Chad claimed that he had heard voices that told him to move to Idaho, and he heard these voices on at least 2 occasions. There's his brother. So then on the other side here, we have Lori. In early of 2013, Charles and Lori legally adopted JJ Vallow. Now, biologically, Charles is JJ's great uncle. There was some family stuff going on and somebody needed a hand, and him and Lori stepped up to the plate, took over custody of JJ, and eventually adopted him. Around 2014, the family moved to Kauai, Hawaii, and they hung out there for a couple years. They moved back to the mainland by early 2017. Now, during this stint in Hawaii is when Lori discovered Chad Daybell's books, and she was particularly fond of the Standing in Holy Places series. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've not checked out any of this literature. I don't want to read a piece of literature and use that as my deciding factor as to what their beliefs may or may not be. So I'm just kind of staying away from it. I've seen what other people have said. I've seen different reviews, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not touching that one until we absolutely have to. Now, in 2018, things really began to change with Lori. Lori's third husband, Joseph Ryan, which is Tylee and Colby's dad, passes away unexpectedly from a heart attack in April of 2018. Now, despite their divorce taking place back in 2004, Lori does receive an insurance check in the amount of $75,000 after the death of Joseph. Was that check for her or was it for the children? I would speculate that it was for, the care of the children. However, the check was made to her, and that's what we know. Joseph was cremated, so even if we suspect that there's any sort of foul play surrounding him, there's nothing that can be done considering he was cremated and there's nothing left to test. Now, during this time, Lori's attentiveness to her family is all but gone. She really doesn't give 2 shits about their daily life or anything. She's becoming more and more obsessed with the writings of Chad Daybell and some organizations. Lori then eventually made the leap to start appearing on a podcast series called Time to Warrior Up. It had a variety of topics. She appeared on there a lot, but she finally did get the opportunity to appear with Chad Daybell on December 5th of 2018. Now, it's unclear if this is their first meeting, but this is the first one where people can pinpoint a date. So really, December of 2018 was 13 months ago. It was not that long ago. So whatever sort of relationship or bullshit they conjured up, this plan came together fairly quickly. You'll also notice in the next little part of our story, Chad Daybell's kind of going to get pushed to the side for a minute because the events that take place throughout 2019 do not include Chad until we get into October. So don't worry, he's coming back into the story. I did not forget about him. Now, in January 2019, we really see Lori's mindset come to light. She has clearly gone down a path that people are not understanding, and her family are just shocked by. In January 2019, Lori disappeared from the marital home after taking $35,000 from a business account, that business she ran with Charles. Her whereabouts for that time remain a mystery even to this day. Some rumor she was back in Hawaii. Some rumor that she was in Idaho with Chad, or at least stalking Chad or something up there. The only clear thing is that she received $75,000 from the death of Joseph Ryan. Now remember, he passed away in April. So this was just 7-8 months later. Now she's taking another $35,000 out of the business account. So this broad's got 110 grand for what? What the hell is she doing with, why does she need all of this money to just disappear? Just why? So while she's gone, she made limited contact with Charles. He finally made contact with her on or around January 29th. Lori made some very unhinged statements. You know, that exchange, that phone call was like the straw that broke the camel's back. Charles is like, I'm done with this. I don't know what to do for her. He had tried to get her mental health. He had tried to do all sorts of different things. Regardless of what she had done to him, he was still trying to get her help. She had canceled his flight home that he didn't know about, so he's stuck at the airport. And when he finally does get home, he finds that his truck that he left in airport parking is gone. She came and got the truck. He went home to later find that she had taken his clothes, his underwear. Then, even more so than that, she took some of JJ's support items, including his iPad and things that he needed for his support dog. She had zero fucks. Charles did file for and did receive an order of protection, and he also promptly filed for divorce. And everything that I've just kind of laid out, all that information is included in those documents where Charles had filed for divorce early last year, and the link to that full document is down below. Before we move on, I'm going to read just a portion from that phone call that took place on or around January 29th. And I need you to keep in mind that the dictionary is massive. It's huge. There's a ton of words to use. And of all the words in the dictionary, these are the ones that Lori decided to use and put together to form sentences. So let's take a look. So this document, it says mother and father a lot. It's so much easier. Mother is Lori, father is Charles. I will say Lori and Charles instead of mother and father. The portion we're going to read today. Lori has recently become infatuated and at times obsessive about near-death experiences and spiritual visions. Lori has told Charles that she is sealed, meaning eternally married, to the ancient Book of Mormon prophet Moroni, and that she has lived numerous lives on numerous planets prior to this current life. Lori also believes she was married to James the Just in a past life and also lived as Mary French in the 1800s, who was Joseph Smith Jr.'s natural grandmother. All these people she's referring to are major figures in the Mormon church, so somehow over the last year and a half, she has really decided she is very much connected to them. Lori also informed Charles that she is a translated being who cannot taste death sent by God to lead the 144,000 into the millennium. Lori believes that she is receiving spiritual revelations and visions to help her gather and prepare those chosen to live in the New Jerusalem after the Great War as prophesied in the Book of Revelations. So, in a very short period of time, she has clearly been given a lot of responsibility spiritually, at least according to her. But wait, there's more. On January 29th, 2019, during a phone conversation between Lori and Charles, and after their physical separation, Lori informed Charles that she was a god assigned to carry out the work of the 144,000 at Christ's second coming in July of 2020, and that if Charles got in her way of her mission, she would murder him. The next day, Charles was on a business trip in Houston, and during another phone conversation, she kept referring to Charles as Nick Schneider instead of his name. Charles asked who Nick Schneider was, and Lori told him that Nick was father's real name because Nick had killed Charles and taken his identity. Could you imagine me and Charles on this phone call? I wouldn't even know what to say. I don't even know. I feel for Charles in so many ways. Lori proceeded to warn Charles that she would kill him upon his return home and had an angel there to help her dispose of the body. Keep that in mind. She also mentioned that she could not trust Charles and that she would not only kill him but would destroy him financially. Since the conversation, Lori's communication with Charles has been rare and intermittent. Upon his return home, Charles petitioned for and received an order of protection against Lori in Maricopa County Superior Court. So Charles didn't waste any time. He was like, nope, I'm done. I can't deal with this. And not so much for his own safety, but for that of his son. It gets messy really quick. Now, next we're going to introduce a couple more people. Melanie is Lori's niece. And after 11 years of marriage and 4 children, in June of 2019, she just comes home and announces she wants a divorce right then and there. She's done. Brandon is like, what the hell? I thought everything was fine. Everything was going great for them. That is until Lori introduced Melanie to whatever belief system that Lori began to follow at the time. So remember Melanie, because she does come back into play here in a little bit. Now, July 11th, 2019 is a huge date for this entire case. It's important to note that everybody who saw the events that took place on July 11th, 2019 were either missing or deceased. The only person accounted for now is Lori. So Lori and the children are living in a rental home in Arizona, and Charles had been living and working in Houston. He was in town that week. He had plans that day to come by and pick up JJ and take him to school. Alex Cox does not live in that residence, but the night before, he chose to spend the night there. He said that they had plans that day. The timeline of events for this day is pretty much non-existent. And that's just based on the people who witnessed what happened. And the only people that were really allowed to talk about it are Alex and Lori, and neither one of them are very reliable witnesses. So according to Alex Cox, Charles and Lori had a verbal argument, and he inserted himself to de-escalate the situation. He claims that Tylee introduced the baseball bat into the thing, and she was swinging it at Charles in order to get him to calm down from her mom. At some point, Alex says Charles took the bat from Tylee and started swinging it at Alex. Now, apparently this tussle's going on, and Lori and the kids decide to leave in Charles's rental car, not her car, she's taking his car. They decide to leave, and according to Alex, within just a couple minutes of them leaving, Charles swings the baseball bat at him, and Alex shoots and kills him right there in the house. It escalated very quickly, and the story that's being told surrounding that by Alex, which we're going to listen to, is a little bit of his 911 call, which sounds more like he's ordering a pizza or he's at a drive-through window. And then we're going to see a little bit of the body cam footage. Now, there will be links down below to the phone call in its entirety. It's about 5 minutes long, I think. And then there's 2 or 3 different videos of body cam footage from that day at that residence. So let's go ahead and listen to the 911 call.
The emergency.
I shot my brother-in-law.
Okay, what part of his body is injured?
In the chest.
I'm sorry, where?
In the chest.
Okay, is he awake and responsive or unconscious?
Unconscious.
Okay, is he breathing?
I can't tell.
Okay, are you willing to go over to him and check?
Sure.
Okay, do you just let me know if you see his chest going up and down? How old is he?
It's not moving. He's 60.
Okay, and are you wanting to start CPR?
No, I don't know how to do that.
I can walk you through it.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but it really doesn't sound like he's interested. Like, he really sounds like he's got, a dentist appointment in 30 minutes and he's got to go. He's totally unfazed by the situation. He just took someone's life. He took the life of his niece and nephew, father figure, and he's just totally chilling like it's no big deal.
Yes, what's your name, sir?
My name is Alex. Last name is Cox, C-O-X.
And where are you in the house now?
In the living room.
And where is the gun?
It's in a bedroom.
Who else is there in the house with you?
Just me.
What's his name, your brother-in-law?
Charles Vallow.
Okay, were you guys arguing when this happened?
Yeah.
And was he armed also, or just you, or what happened there?
Yeah, he came at me with a bat. No, but I've never seen him that enraged before.
He's married to your sister? Is she? Where is she?
Correct. No, I think she's taking her son to school.
Can you come out, walk outside with your hands empty?
Sure.
Are you able to do that with your hands
Sure.
up and empty?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your front door, right?
Yeah.
let's go ahead and look at a little bit of the body cam footage. I will try to timestamp it of the portions that I'm showing, but I want to show a little bit of Alex Cox, a couple of the different stories that he tells.
What happened today? How did it get to this?
I don't know, he was enraged.
What's going on? What happened?
Oh, he was talking with my sister earlier.
No, what happened today, though? Like, just in the last 20 minutes.
He came at me with a bat.
Okay. Was he living here or
no.
visiting?
He came to pick up his son.
Okay, is the son inside?
No. My sister took him to school.
Okay, so it was just you at the house?
Yes.
And he came, how long, what time did he come to pick up the son?
I don't know, 20 minutes ago maybe.
Okay, so you know who he is, let him in?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think they were talking earlier, then she left, and then he got into it with me.
Like what? What do you mean?
I don't know, he was accusing me of...
Come on over here. That truck's going to be really loud. What was he accusing you of?
He was just yelling at me.
Okay. What was he yelling at you about?
About my sister because I'd broken up the tussle with them earlier. And he told me not to interfere anymore with them or I'd pay. And he came at me with a bat.
Okay, so he showed up in the house with a bat in his hand?
No.
Okay, so...
There was a scuffle earlier with my sister and my niece. My niece got involved.
About earlier meaning earlier this week, earlier
No,
this morning?
just this morning, before they left.
Before your wife left?
My sister.
Before your sister left?
Yeah.
Okay, who lives here with you?
Nobody. I don't live here. My sister lives here and my niece lives here.
And you're just visiting?
I was visiting for the night.
Okay, so you're over here visiting your sister and your niece.
Yes.
Okay, and there was a tussle between your sister and her husband.
Yes.
And does the husband live here or no?
No. He
Okay.
lives in Houston.
Okay, is he an ex-husband or just current husband?
They're working on that.
Gotcha. So at some point earlier today, they get into some type of domestic?
Yeah, just this morning, then they left, and then he came at me.
They left meaning who? Both of parties?
Yeah, my sister took my niece and my nephew.
Okay, so they left.
To create some space for him, and then he came at me.
Okay, but did he leave also?
No.
He stayed here?
He stayed.
So you guys are kind of talking in between or what? So it's just you and your brother-in-law?
Yes.
Okay. And kind of go through it.
So,
say something like, hey, don't touch my sister, or...
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then he picked up the bat.
Where was the bat at?
In the living room.
Okay. Is this vehicle here? How did he get here?
Is it here from Texas? No, that's my sister's car. I think he came in a rental car. I think my sister's in it.
You think your sister's in the rental car? So you told him to put the...
Yes.
So where are you at?
Where
are you at now? Or did you stay in your bedroom?
No.
Okay, why didn't you stay just in your bedroom, close the door? Is that something you didn't think about, or?
Didn't even occur to me.
Okay, so walk me through it. So you go back into your room.
So I just went back to the living room. I'm like, what is your problem?
With the gun in your hand?
Yes. And I said, I want you to put that bat down. And he wouldn't do it. And he's like, and he came at me with the bat again after he'd already hit me in the head. So I shot him to stop him.
Okay, and then what happened?
That was it.
Okay. Is it Alex or Alexander? What do you go by? Do you go by Alex or Alexander?
Alexander.
Okay. Do you live
I
at
go by
And the house is so damn weird. It's this huge, gorgeous home, and as the police enter, it's like empty. There's no furniture in the other bedrooms. There's a mattress on the floor for everybody. It's an odd feeling. But then when you go to in the kitchen area, there's a little family room off to the side. That appears to be set up. Of course, Lori has a full bedroom suite, and, everything looks great for her. So, but the whole setup of the house is just odd.
Chandler Police Department, anybody inside, make yourself known! Hey, team, we got one subject down, apparent gunshot wounds in the chest.
then we have Lori's reaction to where, like, she looks like she just got carded for cigarettes. She's like, yeah, here's my ID. Are we done yet? You know, like she's totally pulling a Karen, like she's got something to, like she's got a grocery run to go on.
All right, let me get your information. Does your husband live here or no?
No,
Oh.
this is Houston.
Gotcha. Okay, you guys
We're
met.
separated.
Gotcha. Okay. Let me just get your. Do you have a driver's license with you? I can just grab. Thank you.
I'm sorry?
How long have you lived here?
Like 3 weeks.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Okay.
That's why the neighbors don't know us.
Gotcha.
Like, hi neighbor, sorry.
Are you working at all?
No.
Okay. And you're still about 5'6"?
Mm-hmm.
The whole day is just bizarre. And one thing to keep in note is that Arizona has some of the most lax gun laws in the entire United States. And I'm not getting into any gun law debate. Don't come for me. What I'm saying is that because Alex claimed self-defense, the cops were pretty much like, okay, and were able to walk away. Now, my biggest problem is, had they run his record and looked, they could have seen that he assaulted her third husband, 12 years ago, by tasing him, and he was sentenced to a 90-day term in jail. Why didn't any of that come to light at the time? I have no idea. And as time moves forward, I really hope we get an explanation for that. So now we're going to move on to August of 2019. Now keep in mind, where they were staying in Arizona was a rental home, and that landlord came through after the events that took place where Charles Vallow was killed and said, y'all got to bounce. I can't have this here. This neighborhood is not made for that. My properties are not made for that. I don't want to be associated with this. So Lori was like, okay, whatever. On August 10th of 2019 is the last FaceTime call between JJ and his grandparents. This is the last time that they actually physically laid eyes on him or heard his voice. Now, at some point in August, JJ's service dog is returned to the kennel. Returning this dog, in my opinion, is just an asshole move. She's just an asshole. We move on to August 31st of 2019. Lori, Melanie, Tylee, and JJ pack up and move to Rexburg, Idaho. Now, I strongly suspect that August 31st was the day they needed to be out of that house. Now, how she convinced Melanie to come along with her, I don't know. I don't want to know. Now, Rexburg has a population of around 30,000. 98 to 99% of that is of the Mormon faith, and their city revolves very much so around that. Now, there's a website listed here. If you go to that website, it will tell you some of the concerns that people have for that community based on some of that community's beliefs. So I'm not going to speak on it, but the information is out there. When they got to Idaho, JJ was enrolled in an elementary school on September 3rd of 2019. His last day of school ended up being September 23rd of 2019. Lori told school officials that JJ was going to be homeschooled, and that wouldn't seem that out of the realm of things, considering that Colby and Tylee were both homeschooled. And at this time, in September of 2019, even though Tylee was 16, she had already received her high school diploma or GED. September 23rd is the last confirmed sighting of the children. The following day is Tylee's 17th birthday. Nobody can report any contact with her on her birthday, at least not yet. Nobody's gotten that information. Now, as we get into October, things are really going to pick up. A lot of strange activity is going to happen, and it might get a little confusing. That's why I found it important to give you guys an audio as well as a visual, and you can kind of go back and forth. You can read these things for yourselves. There will be links to everything down below. Expect a ton of links down below to find all of this information. On October 2nd, 2019, remember Brandon and Melanie? Okay, so by this time, Melanie is in Idaho. Okay, Melanie is with Lori and the kids, and they're in Rexburg, Idaho, doing whatever they're doing. Brandon is chilling in Arizona with his kids, goes to pull into his driveway, and he's a victim of a drive-by shooting. The vehicle used in the shooting was allegedly the Jeep that Tylee drove daily, and it was registered to Charles Vallow. We know that in August they moved to Idaho, so how were all these vehicles still being moved around in Arizona? I have one good guess. and that might be her angel, which is Alex Cox. That can't be confirmed. On December 21st, after all of these things really started to happen in the case, Brandon made this lengthy Facebook post. And I want to be clear, Brandon's Facebook is public. You can go in there and you can get hold of him right away. He very much wants to find these children. I highly doubt he gives two shits about his ex-wife. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't care what happens to Lori at this point based on what he's about to say, because he's spilling some tea here. On October 2nd, on my way home from the gym, someone sat outside my home and shot a gun at me. They hit my vehicle and missed my head by inches. I have reason to believe that this was related to all of the following events. I will only share things in this post that are public information. Please do not ask for more. Please also understand I know firsthand how scary these people can be. And by sharing, I realize it can make us a target. As someone who has spent the last 2 months in hiding to protect my kids, I don't take this lightly. But I want to be a person who stands and fights for truth and justice. I have thought a lot about it, and I have to share this. I can no longer sit by when by sharing, I might help someone who knows something to come forward. This story is about JJ. He was born in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and then he just says that Lori and Charles adopted him in 2013. He's a beautiful, intelligent 7-year-old with the biggest heart, most beautiful smile, and has life challenges of a level 2 boy on the autism spectrum. Early intervention allowed him to flourish beyond all expectations. Lori was a wonderful, loving, attentive mother. Things started changing over the past 18 months when Lori began spending all her time with a new religious group that we refer to as a cult. She eventually deserted Charles and JJ for 2.5 months earlier this year. Charles did his best to save the marriage, of which she had no interest. My wife at this time, Melanie, began spending a lot of time with this group. At the end of June, she demanded a divorce, claiming revelation about things that were not real, and there was no evidence given, just a claim of being told by the Savior. I mean, so side note, pretty quickly once you're involved with whatever the hell Lori's got going on, I mean, you become a prophet pretty damn quick. I mean, that's a quick turnaround. He goes on to say, on July 11, 2019 in Chandler, Arizona, Charles went to Lori's home to get JJ and take to school. She and her brother Alex were there. Alex shot Charles twice in the chest, killing him, claiming self-defense. 4 people were there that day, Lori, Alex, and the 2 missing children. And then it just goes on to say some of the other mysterious things that have happened. He finishes by saying, I'm posting this and articles related to the case, begging anyone who believes in justice to please share my post. And like I said, his profile is public. Go to Facebook, find him, start sharing. Help us shed light on this. Someone out there knows something but doesn't know how all the pieces fit together. Help me connect them with the police so we can bring justice to Charles and the other victims. Please join us in prayer and fasting that we find JJ and Tylee alive. Please like and share this to help bring the truth to authorities. Please feel free to DM me with questions about the provided links. So even though Brandon feels like his life is in danger, and I would very much agree with him based on everything we know, he has the balls to step up to the plate and say, no, enough's enough. Find this broad, find these children, and let's make something happen, because this cannot continue to go on. So before we move on, at the bottom of the page, there's a photo that shows you the bullet holes. So can you imagine just coming home from the gym and just in a very quaint, quiet little town, and all of a sudden you're almost a victim of a drive-by shooting? It just blows my mind. So now, this is October 2nd. Things are, like I said, are ramping up from here. So hold on to your hat, because here we go. Now, this is the part of the story where we're going to introduce the Daybells back into it. And not because Chad didn't have anything to do with activities that took place throughout the year. These are just activities and situations that have been documented, things that we know about. On October 9th, which was just 1 week after Brandon was almost a victim of a drive-by shooting, Tammy Daybell called 911 in regards to an armed person in her driveway. She later made this Facebook post. Okay, neighbors, something really weird just happened, and I want you to know so you can watch out. I had gotten home and parked in our front driveway. As I was getting stuff out of the back seat, a guy wearing a ski mask was suddenly standing by the back of my car with a paintball gun. He shot at me several times, although I don't think it was loaded. I yelled for Chad and he ran off around the back of my house. I have no idea what his motive was, and he never spoke, even after I asked him several times what he thought he was doing. I was about to smack him with my freezer meals from enrichment tonight when I decided to yell for Chad instead. Now, this woman is just sweet as can be. You could just tell by this post as somebody is standing in her yard or standing at the back of her car with her with a gun pointed at her, which she suspects was a paintball gun and that it misfired. I don't suspect it was a paintball gun. I feel like something else more nefarious was going on there, but I wasn't there. It's her story to tell, not mine. But even in all of that craziness, this sweet woman still found a way to see the good in the world and just be like, oh, it was some kids doing a prank or, whatever. She had 5 kids. She knows they do stupid shit. It just breaks my heart to know that she was just so chill and she was just like, oh my gosh. So keep in mind that she yelled for Chad. So that means Chad was home during this. So we're going to come back to that in a little bit. Now, also around this time in the beginning of October, Chad started telling friends that he was having visions of Tammy's passing. Said he made this statement on more than one occasion to this friend. So if Chad is making those statements at this point, there's already a plan in motion, in my opinion. So just 10 days later, Chad's visions come true. Chad Daybell likes to find his wife unresponsive and she is pronounced dead. He tells her father later that she went to bed with a bad cough and that she just overall wasn't feeling well, and then she basically never woke up. She was laid to rest 3 days later. Now, this woman's obituary is a tearjerker. I mean, it's this huge essay. All the people that contributed to that did an amazing job in order to honor this woman. I put a couple paragraphs from it here. I'm going to read to you, but the link to her full obituary is down below. And I totally invite you to go read that just to pay some honor to this woman. She totally deserves that. Tammy was a computer genius who also had a talent for graphic arts. In 2004, she and Chad founded Spring Creek Book Company, and Tammy wore many hats as their company grew, juggling her role as CFO with designing the book covers. She was the true backbone of the company, and she was proud of the dozens of books the company published over the years. In 2015, the family moved to Salem, Idaho, and she became the assistant librarian at Madison Middle School. She later became the librarian at Central Elementary School in Sugar City, Idaho. She was treasured and loved by the staff and students alike. She served in numerous capacities in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, including as State Girls Camp Director and as Young Woman President. She also served in Relief Society and primary presidencies. She loved the women and girls she was privileged to serve with. Tammy's true focus throughout her life was her family, from serving a delicious dinner each Sunday to remembering every birthday and holiday with gifts. She also loved all sorts of animals, but she especially loved Indian runner ducks. She raised pigeons, chickens, cats, and rabbits, knowing each one by name. She loved gardening, cooking, and playing games with the family. Her laugh will be remembered and cherished. It breaks my heart that this sweet woman, who was married to Chad at this time for 29 years, it would have been their 30th wedding anniversary in March of this year, which was March of 2020. It breaks my heart that she fell into the web of Lori's brand of crazy and that she is no longer here with her family and with her friends. It's heart-wrenching. Now in November of 2019, this case really takes it up a notch again. And this is when authorities are first alerted that something crazy is going on. Like we just saw, Tammy Daybell passed away on October 19th of 2019. By mid-November, Chad and Lori are married. Just that quick. They're just married. His wife of 29 years just passed away. Married. Like, no big deal. It blows my mind. Nobody has an exact date yet on when or where that marriage took place. It's rumored that it took place in Vegas or Hawaii or Timbuktu. I mean, it could have happened anywhere at this point, but there's lots of theories floating around about that. Now, remember Crazy Melanie and her husband Brandon, their divorce is finalized in early November of 2019. Now, on November 14th of 2019, Melanie is arrested for trespassing on Brandon's parents' property. The charges are later dropped and she's let go. But what the hell was she doing? From Idaho, I guess she had to maybe come back for divorce proceedings, who knows. But then all of a sudden she's trespassing on their property. And like Brandon said, they were in hiding for a reason. And if she's going to pull some shit like that, God only knows what her intention was. Who knows? In late November, JJ's biological parents, Larry and Kay Woodcock, which you see here pictured with JJ, of Lake Charles, Louisiana, cannot make contact with Lori at all. There's nothing coming back from Lori. So they get hold of Rexburg police and ask them to please do a welfare check on Tylee and JJ. On November 26th, law enforcement heads over to Lori's home, knocks on the door. Hey, where are the kids? She's like, oh, don't worry about it. They're staying with friends and family down in Arizona. They went back to visit friends. She gives them this big crock of shit. So law enforcement gathers all the information they need to make contact with these people, and they head out. Well, by the following day, after they made contact with these people who said, no, the kids are not here, I've not seen the kids since they went to Idaho, saying, no, don't bring me into this shit. I don't know what you're talking about. So law enforcement goes back on November 27th to find that Lori and Chad are gone. Just poof, gone. They fled the residence. Nobody knows where they are. Lori and Chad just went off the grid. Nobody knew where they were. Just gone. So if that's not suspicious and if that doesn't raise red flags, then I don't really know what does. Now, while police are trying to figure out where the children are and where Lori and Chad have run off to, on the 29th and 30th in Vegas, there's a couple weddings going down. On the 29th, Alex Cox gets married in Vegas. And on the 30th, Melanie gets married to a man named Ian Pulowski. Now, Ian is a pretty active member in different communities up there in Rexburg, Idaho. So Melanie gets hitched to this guy. Now, Ian has just finalized a divorce from his wife in July of 2019. So these people just don't give two shits. They'll just, marry anybody walking by. It seems like I don't understand it. My question to this is, do Lori and Chad go to Vegas for these weddings? The timing is pretty much spot on. So I'm wondering, and I'm not taking Lori's side, do not even come at me for this, what I'm about to say. But was their trip to Vegas already planned, where they were going to head out that day to go do whatever? Did Lori and Chad already have plans on going? And then by the time they went to the weddings, they realized, oh shit, law enforcement was serious. They really want to talk to us, and then they made some drastic decisions. Because what we're about to find out is that from November 27th through, by witness accounts, at least through December 10th, nobody had eyes on them at all. So that's just one question I might have. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Have you seen any other statements that might say where they could have been during that time? I would love to hear it. Now, Idaho authorities waste no time in determining that there's some weird shit going on. Once they learned that Lori and Chad had quickly got married after Tammy's death, now the children are missing, now Chad and Lori are missing, they decide that due to the developing circumstances, they're going to look further into Tammy's death, and they have her exhumed on December 11th of 2019. The very next day, Alex Cox, who's Lori's brother, passes away suddenly from mysterious circumstances. To this day, we still don't have an official word on what exactly happened to him, but he has now passed away. And he had just gotten married less than 2 weeks prior. So on December 20th, Rexburg police officially announced the disappearance of Tylee and JJ and asked the public for assistance in locating them. In a news release, police say Chad and Lori are not cooperating. The children's disappearance may be tied to Tammy's suspicious death. On December 21st, law enforcement announces that Chad and Lori are persons of interest in the disappearance of the children. And on December 23rd, their lawyer releases this statement. Chad Daybell was a loving husband and has the support of his children in this matter. Lori Daybell is a devoted mother and resents assertions to the contrary. I can't even say that without wanting to just throw up. We look forward to addressing the allegations once they have moved beyond speculation and rumors. Well, wouldn't it stand to reason that if you produced your children, gave some explanations, that the speculation would stop? Because if we don't have a firm statement from you, Lori and Chad, all we have left is speculation. Now, on December 30th of 2019, the Rexburg Police Department did issue this press release. If you guys want to pause it and read it, it basically just goes over what we just talked about. If you want to read the official document, hit pause and have a peek. Now, on January 3rd of 2020, just 2.5, 3 weeks after Tammy's body was exhumed, a search warrant is executed on the Daybell property. Investigators removed 43 items of evidence, including multiple electronics. So what this says to me is that whatever testing had been done to Tammy, something raised suspicions, and they were able to have enough probable cause to get a search warrant. Because you can't just on a hunch say, I need a search warrant, I'm going to go see what's going on over here. No, there has to be probable cause in order to get that. And the fact that they did, and they executed it so quickly following her exhumation, speaks volumes, if you ask me. Here we're going to meet Colby Ryan. This is Lori Vallow's 23-year-old son. He took to YouTube and has made, since this time, a few different videos playing to his mother. His channel will be linked down below. You can watch those in their entirety by going to his channel. In one video, here's some quotes. I love my family more than anything. I love Tylee. I love JJ. I don't think people understand that a lot of stuff has been going on for us personally this year and then with my family. So obviously things really got out of hand and things started happening more a couple months ago. So he's pretty much agreeing with everybody's timeline that if he's saying this in January, that, you know, October, November, things really blew up and just became a real shit show. On January 7th of 2020, JJ's grandparents, Larry and Kay, announced that they were offering a $20,000 reward for information leading to the safe return of JJ and Tylee. These people need to know where these children are. These people need to be reconnected with them immediately. We only want the best for them, says Larry Woodcock. Please give them back to us. I mean, there are no words for that. They've appeared on multiple outlets, including mainstream media, social media. They've been on various YouTube channels. These people are getting the word out, and I commend them for that, especially with everything they're dealing with emotionally, to be able to stand up in different capacities and say, I need these children back, and I won't stop until I get them. I think it's amazing. Now, seemingly out of the blue, on January 25th and January 26th of 2020, Lori and Chad are found in Kauai, Hawaii, living their best life, just chilling, no biggie. Bomb just got dropped on their ass, which I think is fantastic. So on January 25th of 2020, Lori is served with a child protective order that gives her 5 days to present the children to Rexburg, Idaho authorities, which means that she has until 5 p.m. local time in Idaho on January 30th, 2020 to present those children to authorities. On the following day, on the 26th, Lori and Chad are pulled over, presented with the search warrant, and their rental car is seized and towed. Nothing makes me happier. The only thing that would have made me happier in this whole entire situation is that they would have been taken into custody and been held for questioning. And then you see her with her smug ass. I mean, she's walking around with resting bitch face. Against standard procedure, authorities did release information that did confirm the events that took place on January 25th and 26th concerning Lori and Chad in Hawaii. Based on the coverage this case is finally starting to get after all of these months, they needed to put something out there and let the public know that yes, this is in fact happening. This was released on January 27th of 2020. You guys can give this a pause and have a read for yourself. Basically, it's just confirming everything that we just talked about. So let's meet the lawyer, Sean Bartholic. He is a man of few words. After the child protective order was served and the search warrants were executed, he has a comment. We don't have any comment on the search warrant issue. Shocking. You have no comment. They have no comment about anything. Suddenly, for a broad who can ramble on about how she is the second coming of God and she's here to save 144,000 people and all of these weird words she can find in the dictionary, she has no comment and does not have the ability to look in the dictionary to find words to describe where the hell her children are. Nor can her lawyer do that. It's so damn frustrating. So here's a little bio about Sean. That came from the law office in which he works. So there'll be a link to his law office down below. So you guys can read his full bio. I don't intend on giving him any more airtime than he deserves, which is not even much. Now, after they're found in Kauai, Hawaii, people, web sleuth, reporters, all sorts of people start figuring out what the hell are they doing there and how the hell are they affording them. The picture on the left was posted at 11:34 a.m. on January 7th, 2020. This is the house in Princeville on the Hawaiian island of Kauai where Chad and Lori Daybell are staying. Police also served a search warrant at the location Sunday. Neighbors had no idea who the couple is or what happened. And therein lies the problem. People have no idea who they are. And we need to make that change. We need to get their faces out there, get the story out there, just spread it like wildfire. There's no reason that this story should stay under the radar. It's stayed under the radar for too long. And now we have 2 children that have been missing for 4 months. We have a handful of mysterious deaths, a couple attempted murders. It's just insanity what continues to go on around this case. Okay, enough of my soapbox. My biggest point there was nobody had any idea who the couple is. So I invite you to share this video. Anything that you see on social media regarding this case, go ahead and share that information as well. Anything you can do to get this case out there, it's definitely worth every single second. Now, the tweet on the right comes from Justin Lum of Fox 10. I will tell you, he is a great resource, and he tweets about this case nonstop. He's been tweeting about this case since early December, and randomly I stumbled across it then, and I've been following him ever since, and he's been spot on with everything. His tweet, which came out at 10:13 p.m. on January 28th of 2020, says, "New details. When did Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell arrive in Kauai? Resident who wants to be anonymous says around December 10th. Sources say he never saw kids and couple hung out by pool a lot. Condo is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, selling for just over $700,000. So remember how we just talked about the Vegas thing? So they were last seen at their home in Idaho on November 27th. And then this source is saying roughly around December 10th. So that gives them a good couple weeks. So I'm wondering, did they make the pit stop in Vegas, go down there for the weddings, stay down there for whatever reason? Who knows? And where the hell are they getting all this money? When that search warrant was executed and their car was towed and they were left on the side of the road, Lori literally has like a Ziploc bag full of cash, and she was allowed to keep that. Where the hell is all this money coming from? I am not understanding it. Now, this case is clearly to be continued. The Madison County Prosecutor's Office released this statement on January 29th of 2020. We are grateful for the concern and attention being shown regarding the location, health, and safety of Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. We again renew our gratitude for the help received and continue to request that anybody with any information regarding the whereabouts of the children come forward. With all attention paid to this case this week, we would also remind the public and media that child protection cases are sealed and confidential. While the court did allow us to announce the existence of the case and the order that Lori Vallow produce her children, any and all other documents, hearings, and court filings are sealed and confidential by law. As such, we legally cannot comment on any other aspect of the case. In the event that information comes forward that would be important for the public to know, we will inquire of the court as to whether that information can be shared. Again, thank you for your attention regarding this matter. We hope and pray that the children will be produced and found and that they are safe and healthy. Now, a few more things I made notes about before we wrap this up. Lori had told people that Tylee passed away the year before Charles, meaning that Tylee, according to Lori, passed away in 2018. Chad had told people that Lori had no minor children, which is clearly a lie. A text is sent from Tylee's phone to a friend on October 25th, 2020. The friend says it's not her texting style. Tylee's Venmo account was used to send money to Colby Ryan on 10/10 and 10/16. All prior transactions were made through Lori's account. Now, those little handful of things are clearly not official statements. They are things that people, friends and family or different acquaintances are making these statements. So are they true? Who knows? The only thing that is verified is the Venmo account information because it's public. But the rest of it is just odd. And there's so many more things. Like I could have typed up 10 more slides of odd things that come along with this case. So hold on to your hat. But there are people that are supporting Chad and Lori. Various supporters from different organizations are making public statements defending their character, amongst other things. Now, in particular, Chad is getting a lot of support based on his history with his community and different organizations that he belonged to. Because he was an author, people did believe in him and believe in the things he wrote about, 2 cents. And I've seen nobody step up to the plate for Lori, not one person. There is a group that they were both associated with. Remember how we talked about the podcast and different things? That podcast was associated with this group. This group made a very public statement on their website as soon as they heard what was going on and said, we are not associated with them. Whatever choices they are making, we do not want any part of. Do not hold us liable for anything. We do not want to be part of this story at all. So Chad and Lori both were active in that organization. Now, what I believe happened, my 2 cents, my speculation, is that for whatever reason, somewhere along the way, Lori decided to kind of radicalize herself, and she drugged Chad and her cousin Melanie, and God only knows who else, into this little web of crazy, and kind of created their own group. Now, could be referred to, referring to this previous group as a cult is unfair. The choices they make, the things they do in their group, in their time, that's on them. That's not on us. And it's not for us to decide if that's a cult or not. What Lori and Chad are kind of leaning towards in the activities that they've shown in the last couple of months, now that's a totally different story. But I do not believe that this group has anything to do with the choices that Lori and Chad are making at this time. Just my 2 cents. And that organization has asked specifically that they not be contacted. And any mention of their name, they're immediately going to send out a cease and desist. So I'm not doing it. I'm respecting their wishes. Do I know really what's going on with them? No. But it doesn't seem to me that I need to. It seems to me, like I said, that Lori did whatever they're doing on their own free will. We go back to July 11th of 2019 when Charles was shot and killed. Charles was there to see JJ. There's no reason Lori would leave in his rental car with the kids and Charles would just be like, okay, yeah, no problem. I'm just going to hang out with Alex and, catch up, man. No, that was not going to happen. He was there to see his son. So my question, and a lot of other people question it too, was Charles shot before Lori left with the kids or after? A lot of people question Alex's timeline of that day. I mean, cool story, bro, but nobody's buying it. And unfortunately, he's the only witness that really said anything, because when they interviewed Lori, she acted like she just didn't give 2 shits about the whole situation. She didn't react to the death of her husband. She did nothing. That whole situation just aggravates me, and I would love to know what you guys think happened that day, because I have a ton of theories, and if I talked about them all, we could be here all day. My next question would be, when it comes to what Tammy Daybell reported happened in her driveway. So let's speculate that somebody was there to shoot her, and that's not, too far of a leap given what happened to Brandon just a week earlier. So someone was there to shoot her, and that gun jammed, and it wasn't able to go down that day. She said that Chad was in the home. So was Chad okay with the idea of his wife being shot in the driveway while he sat inside and drank a Coke? Because he would have to be complicit with that and be okay with that plan. And then when that didn't work out, then, 10 days later, they have another scenario that they can make work. It's just bizarre to me that he can go from, this awesome dad and husband and person in the community to a guy who is just totally cool with his wife being shot in the driveway. That blows my mind. What happened in his brain that made him go from A to B? I don't get it. So that was one other question I had regarding this craziness. So I could go on for literally hours with questions about this case and speculate a ton of things and go over the information and still find little oddities that I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because The whole story, when you put it all in this nice little package, all you can say is, what the hell is going on? And why is nobody talking about this? And why is it taking so long for authorities to actually make some moves? We're going to wrap it up here. I appreciate that you guys spent your time with me. Lori has just a few hours to produce those children. I imagine that there will be an update of sorts coming sometime today. And I hope against all hope that is she presents Tylee and JJ to authorities. But even when you hope for the best, you also have to expect the worst. And I do speculate that Lori will do something drastic. Her last two husbands died mysteriously, and at this point, all we can call Chad is next, in my opinion. I would not be shocked, as hard as it is to say, to see something happen to Chad and or Lori sometime today. I hope authorities have kept eyes on them in Hawaii. It's not been reported whether they're still there or they're back in Idaho or they're in transit or whatever. Nobody kind of knows, but I really hope that authorities aren't dropping the ball, because these people could end up anywhere. That's it for now. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, share this video. Any posts that you see on social media regarding this case, share. Let's get the word out. Let's make some noise and let people know what is going on so we can put pressure on authorities, and even more importantly on Lori, to get this ball rolling. So you guys have a great day. See you when I see you.